And we're live. Woohoo!
Hey, good morning, Ken.
Good morning, John.
Hey, I watched part of the one of the last shows you did with Gary about the graphic designer. Good job.
Oh, good. I barely remember that. It was like 2 or 3 nights ago, huh?
Yeah, 2 or 3 days. A week of Sundays.
Hey, if you sleep once or twice, you forget all that stuff.
Yeah. Um, but of course, good morning. It's 72 and sunny inside, and it's a really a nice day in Murfreesboro outside. A little bit rainy this morning, but any day you could. As the guys say, any day you wake up on this side of the sod is a good day.
Yeah, yeah. Here. Check this out. Can you see that?
39 degrees.
Yeah, that's this place. Can you
Oh,
believe that?
here. Let's see. Um, let's see. I need my children here so I can work my phone. That or at least my glasses. Weather. All right. See if you can.
Cue the elevator music.
Yeah.
You got to make a noise. There we go. 61.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like the hottest day of summer here.
It was like 85 or something here recently.
There's people outside walking around in shorts in this weather because
Well,
it's
yeah.
warm. Yeah, because it's been like cold, really, really cold. This 39, that's warm here. That's it's nuts.
Well, a couple weeks ago when it got to, it was like 50 one day. And I mean, because it had been zero just 3 or 4 days and snowy before, I thought people, and they went to school in shorts like they were sweating.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It's
spring
all
is sprung.
relative. It's
Yes,
all
it
relative.
is. And we do have almost all the trees either have buds or are green here in the mid south. The crepe myrtles and some of the others are still; those haven't shown signs of life yet.
Yeah, well, I'm ready to get back there. Um, I know I'm going to visit pretty soon, but I'm ready to get back there permanent. Um, this winter stuff just isn't for me, man. I mean, it's fun to do stuff in the snow a little bit. Went ice fishing earlier.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, caught a big brown trout, and that was like the highlight of the winter activity. Everything else, like shoveling it. That was shoveling it and blowing the snow. That was fun the first time I got here. For like the first 6 times I did it. After that, not so much.
Not
Not so
so
much.
much. Yeah. Well, this winter here was pretty ugly a couple times. We did have some breaks, um, but they were short lived.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I've had some people asking, hey, when are you going to come down and stuff. And a couple of my buddies go fishing and stuff like that. So I'm going to try and get down there. What I really want to do is hop on the bike and make the long trip. I've been wanting to do this forever, ever since I have watched the Incredible Hulk. David Banner, not the new show, the old show.
We've been showing our children that show.
Yeah, yeah. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I always wanted. I wanted to travel from town to town and work as a dishwasher and you know meet the local people and stuff, and then have to be on my way before I turn into
Rambo
Hulk.
did that too. And
Oh
you'd be
yeah, but
more
he
like
went to like
Rambo.
Thailand and stuff.
But he started out in the first Rambo when he was in the Northwest.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm not
You
so much a Rambo type. I'd be more the Incredible Hulk, the nice guy part of him. Yeah.
no, okay.
Occasionally the Hulk part, but mostly the nice guy.
Mm.
Like, don't hit me. You won't like me when I'm angry. I'm trying to tell you now, okay? Because if you hit me, I'm gonna go off on you.
All right, Mr. Avenger.
Yeah. So the whole traveling part, that's the part that appealed to me. I figure, wouldn't it be cool if, let's say, you threw a backpack on the bike and a sleeping bag and stuff like you saw in I don't know what was that show with the two old guys. Uh,
Oh,
was it Steve McQueen and no, it was some other dude. And it was the motorcycle show. Born to Be Wild or something. That was the song,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You can just slap your camping stuff on there and go out there, and you get tired of driving, you pull off the interstate into some trees and stuff, and build a little tent or something like that. Get up, hunt down a squirrel or something, eat it, get back on the road. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, speaking of something like that, not a squirrel, we've got 2 Jack Russell Terriers puppies, and yesterday I had them out running free in the backyard. Uh, I got one in, was going out to get the other one. I walked in the house, and the most putrid smell I have about ever smelt in my life, other than when our previous Jack Russell was getting squirted by the skunk. They found a dead mouse in our backyard, and he
Oh.
had rolled in that thing. Oh,
Yeah. All right. So we lost John, which is not unusual. John does that kind of thing. And it has nothing to do with Comcast because I've got Comcast on this end, and Comcast is pretty fast for me. But I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to open up. You saw him kind of looking down, and he was going like this, looking for a story to talk about later. And I bet that he sucked up all his bandwidth on his phone and took it away from the screen. And so that's why he dropped out. But it looks like he's trying to get back in anyway. So we'll see what happens. But if not, hey, I'll carry it. I'll carry it. We'll talk the whole time. And you will be crying. You'll be begging me to leave by the time it's all over. So
hey, there we go.
hey, there he is. Yeah. He had to have a quick break.
Yeah.
Jack Russells were calling.
Yeah, the Jack Russell. And boy, that was a bad smell. But not sure how it was going since my signal lost from our new Xfinity box that will never happen because we just put it in yesterday.
I was just telling him how it couldn't be Comcast's fault because I've got Comcast on this end and mine works fine. So I think it's just that you jinx everything with technology.
I'm beginning to feel that way. We have Chaser Rabbit, not a dead mouse. We've had a new line from the pole to the house. The Comcast cherry picker truck went a mile up the road and a mile back, checking every pole.
Mm-hmm.
And one day we came back in and I saw this guy and I said, which house are you trying to fix? He goes, I can't tell you. I said, is it 155? Or told him our house number, whatever that number is. And he says, yes. And I said, just check it. So he comes and I see him a little while later. I think we found the problem, blah, blah, blah. So we turned on the devices in the house, had to change all the passwords, all the other things had to be done with the new box. Nope, not that. So I went to the store over on Thompson Lane, their new store, and my goodness, what a confusing place that is. You walk in, check in, you get a number, and there's these different stations. I felt like about as lost as last year's Easter egg. It was awful to me.
Like the DMV, huh?
Yes. You get a ticket number, and like the old meat market, now serving 4.
You know what's worse than that? Not to change the subject, because we all love Comcast. The same experience. Have you ever gone to a Social Security office?
No.
Or an IRS office or something like that?
Yeah, I've been to the IRS office.
Well, if you go to the Social Security office or something, it's the same situation. You draw a number. They got you in this like.
I think you're right. You draw a number.
Yeah, and then if they like you, they'll call your number, and you go in there, and then the guy with the government agent with the big pistol on his side is eyeballing you up and down, making sure that you're gonna be okay and not not go in there with an attitude, right?
Yeah. Oh, no attitude.
You don't want to make some of the old Social Security people all mad and stuff because they'll have your butt hauled off. But I mean, what is it coming to when they got to have armed guards at the Social Security office, man?
Yeah, and that's the Comcast better start grabbing some because I don't pack, but I can't believe that some of those other people don't.
Yeah, probably so. But,
Anyway,
what's that got to do with the price of eggs, right?
what's the yes? I'm gonna.
Oh, I'll just start off. I don't know if you're ready now, but I'm going to start. I was watching my Facebook feed yesterday because I'm always anxious to see what's going on in Murfreesboro. And a couple of the things that went by was the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
They were talking about how the sheriff's family or something like that was selling these electronic cigarettes or leasing them. Well, I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but anyhow, they're
Yeah, I want to lease an
supplying
electronic cigarette.
$3 for a
Is that
drag.
like
$3 a drag.
it's like leasing a needle at the doctor's office.
Yeah,
We had it cleaned, I promise.
I don't know how that works. Well, I guess I don't know. I think smoking is banned. Smoking actual tobacco stuff. I'm
That
pretty
whole
sure
fire
it's
thing
banned.
is pretty bad at a fire.
Yeah, I can't imagine they ever had that to begin with. And you know, if you're in the can, you probably deserve to be there anyway, right? I mean, so you know, if you're a smoker, then you just don't smoke. That's it. So anyway, I guess from what I read, and this was on, I think it was Borough Pulse. So, whoop, whoop, Borough Pulse. Um, they had the story about the sheriff's. I don't know if it's his grandpa or grandma or aunt or uncle in some other state.
Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia. Fine state, by the way. I like Georgia.
I've got Georgia on my mind.
Apparently, so did all the inmates. They couldn't wait to get their e-cigarettes, right? So anyway, there's some hoopla going on there. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what the big hoopla is all about.
Well,
I suspect it's because they don't want the family to make any money off the inmates. I'm guessing that's what it is. Is that kind of the crux of it, or?
yes, and on the news last night, they had and I don't remember which county. I believe it's north of Nashville, north of Davidson County. They have a contract with, I think the company name is Jail Cigs, out of Georgia.
Okay.
And it's the sheriff's deputy, his chief deputy, is an owner in that company, and they market these e-cigs to jails. And
Right.
then for the orders, each order, the jail gets, I don't know if it's $5 per whatever that e-cigarette thing is called or what, but each widget, they reimburse the jail $5. But in Rutherford County, so says the news, the e-cig company, Jail Sig, did not reimburse the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department or the county $5 per widget either. So, of course, if the bill was X amount of dollars, you'd have to take $5 per widget, your profit drops. So here, we, us citizens, so says the news, we're paying full price without getting our $5 rebate.
Is that what everybody's all fired up about?
I guess. This is one of those, we've had a bunch of things happening with Hillary Clinton and different politicians all over the country. And I'm always wanting to be fair, even though I've taught my children a fair is something you go to, life isn't fair. Let's wait till the news comes out. And I saw the mayor of Murfreesboro on the news last night, and I think they brought in the state comptroller or some state other agency, State Department, not agency. The state is in, and they're going to do an investigation. So in the coming weeks, I think we'll figure out more what's going on, and we've got to figure out the rules. Are the rules that it's okay for him to do that? You know, something can look bad, and something can be wrong, but just because it looks bad, it may not be wrong.
Yeah, you mean like something like the federal government taking over state land in Nevada from a rancher who's had his cows there forever and ever.
And then people
So
say he didn't pay his
so
taxes.
his son could put up like a solar farm there or something like that.
Yeah,
Would it be along those lines?
it could be. Let's call Harry Reid. Let's call
Shame
Harry
on
Reid's
you.
office and see what if he can. See if
Well,
Harry
here's the
Reid
thing
will
with jail. I don't
jump
know
in
a
on
whole
a
lot
hangout.
about. I don't know a whole lot about jails, other than I have been in jail a couple of times, and totally innocent purposes. All right. I mean, one time I was in a jail because I was in the construction industry, and they wanted to bid on redoing a youth detention center, and this was in Nashville. That's all I'll say. It was a zoo, a crazy zoo. I would never want to go back there again. Uh, and the other times I've been visiting people, uh, not like close family and friends or anything,
All right, all right, all right.
but people that I know. Like I got
I
one
know
fellow
someone.
I go see every once in a while, and we talk about Bible stuff and how to not end up where you are again, right? And I know that like when I want to buy him a book, I can't just like take a book off the shelf, a fine book like this, um, by a prestigious author. I can't just grab one of those books and take it down there with me and say, "Here's a book." It's got to go through the cycle. It's got to go through these approved sources, and I think you can buy one from Amazon, but it's got to be new, and it's got to have the receipt delivered with the book. I mean, they have like a list of these rules and stuff. I should probably look them up. Otherwise, they have these preferred vendors that you go through to buy things like books, or like on holidays, you might send a treat, a basket of goodies or something like that. And so you can't just buy that from anywhere. It has to be these specific vendors. So what I suspect is going on is for any given product that they disperse in jail, there is a preferred vendor for this particular product. Now, if the contracts are let on the basis of who do you know or who can you pay to get the contract, then yeah, they probably ought to look at that. And if that's what's going on, he needs to take a whooping and then fly straight from there. But if they're letting those contracts out by open bid or whatever, just like they do construction and all these other things that the state pays for, then I don't see a problem if his family member won the contract fair and square from competitive bid process.
Well, the article
I don't
said
see
that,
why there's a problem.
I think it's his wife. She answers the phone part-time or something.
Yeah.
So she gets money from it. Yes, I don't know what the rules are. Like you said, if it's done right, just because the news wants to sell a better thing and they can twist something, not that the news would ever do something like that. But in some government offices, when you're a leader of a department, if you have stocks, bonds, or holdings, or realtor or something, they make you put that account in some sort of escrow. So
Right.
you arguably can't profit, that you're not harmed by it necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if the sheriff should have. And today, full disclosure is everything. We've had it on this show where Gary talks about he works with a nonprofit, and I have my own financial industry and the insurance side of it. So some of the questions we've talked about here, I don't answer, and then I help teach a budgeting class at Greenhouse.
You're not an elected official either.
No, but
And if
we're
people
still
don't like
held.
you, they can click away. So
Right.
to you,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. But since he has been elected and is serving, I believe it's his second time.
Right.
His second sentence. Some of elected officials, they feel like they've been sentenced after they've been elected.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if they do. We are held to a different. If you have some sort of accreditation, you're held, for good or for bad, to a different standard. And I'm wondering if that's what the hubbub is about. That his second in charge, I believe, is making profits from something. Maybe he should have not sold to his own jail, or well, for instance, I think the mayor of the county, and I know one of the the commissioners, the county commissioners, they don't take a salary. They get paid, of course, but then it goes either to a charity or back into the treasury. And I think that's honorable, I guess, but you're doing the work, and I don't know that there's, I don't know, if you get paid, you might as well take the money, but since the sheriff or his chief deputy, whatever his rank is, we've got to wait and figure out if there's done anything wrong, and then, like you say, if they've done wrong, then go through the hoops to see what the penalty is, if there was a crime, or if it was just a policy that they broke and there's no crime committed, then get a slap on the hands and go on.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that they need to be held to a higher standard. And you know, quite honestly, I don't care. I don't care if he's selling e-cigarettes to the inmates through this company that his family owns and stuff. I think, number one, the purchase process has to be fair. If it's money being made by a private firm going through a public entity, then it needs to be a fair process. You just don't want to, encourage nepotism or something like that.
Correct.
But if they're the only ones in town who do it, and they're the only ones, and there's no way to bid because no one else is competitive, or they don't have any competitors, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. But I think there probably should be some sort of disclaimer. I think the real issue, to me, what sticks in my mind is, how can you not know that your number one guy is doing this? Why isn't he telling you? Or how come he's not a Clinton, all right? The sheriff is not a Clinton. He doesn't have that plausible deniability. He doesn't have that credibility yet. He doesn't have that reputation where he could say, what are you talking about? That was 3 years ago. It doesn't matter anymore. He is responsible and answerable to the people. So, if I really don't think there's any excuse for not knowing.
Well, that I think that's been part of the thing, is they're friends, and the sheriff's wife, per the reports, answers the phone for this jail cig company. So we'll have to wait and see. And of course, last night in the news, they noted that there was a budget meeting here in Rutherford County, the courthouse, and the sheriff typically attends. He appointed someone to attend for him last night. Sometimes that can look bad. Other times, you don't want to fan the flames. So
it turns out he was actually outside, but he couldn't get his cigarette started. He was asking for a jump there to get it fired up and stuff.
He needed a new battery. I don't know that the sheriff smokes.
He probably doesn't. I'm just picking.
Yeah, I know.
Well, here's the thing, to me, not a huge deal. Not a huge deal at all. But transparency, authenticity. I mean, if he's going to hold the highest position as a law enforcement officer, he just needs to be straight. Mm-hmm. And so if he knew, he should just say, hey, yeah, I knew it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and here's why. Or he could try what he's trying now. Well, nobody told me, No, nobody wants somebody like that running the show. That you might get away with that if you're the president, but you're not going to get away with that being the local sheriff.
No, and one thing I am happy about, it's out in the news, it's out now, but the mayor has called in the state, and the mayor's office isn't going to oversee the investigation. I think that's one of the smarter things. that's being
You
done.
said county mayor, right?
Right, the county mayor
Okay.
is not going to oversee the county sheriff. To me, that's almost like the president having his Department of Justice head. You know, they not. Uh, Obama hasn't had any real special counsel. He's always let the Department of Justice do it. Well,
Oh, he's had some special counsel, all right.
yeah, he's had some special, but that's my mom and dad always grew up. I've always heard the expression. That's the what's the fox guarding the chicken coop.
Right, right. And that gets back to that whole thing. If it was something that they started and no one else had a crack at the contract, that's something they need to reconsider immediately. Um, but if it's not, then who cares, right? Ah, John's lost his connection again. I think he's trying to fire up a smoke. He's trying to jumpstart one of those electronic cigarettes. All right. Well, yeah. So I mean, here's what I'm thinking, folks. It's a big deal. Maybe that he didn't know, if he truly didn't know. Um, it's a big deal if he knew and uh, is trying to make out like he didn't know, because you want the highest law enforcement officer to be truthful all the time. But as far as the incident itself, selling electronic cigarettes, who cares? Who cares who sold it? As long as the process was fair, no big deal. Now, if it turns out that it wasn't fair, then they need to, like I said, take their licks and pull out of it, or if there was a situation where they were missing a certain percentage was supposed to go into the coffers, then they probably ought to think about putting that back in there. But yeah, it perception is a thing, and if you're perceived to be less than forthright, that's as bad as being less than forthright. So I don't know if he's got a legal issue right now, but he's certainly got a perception problem, and they need to deal with that and make that right, because the people vote you in. The people deserve to know, especially if there's something going on that just smells bad, right? So as far as I know, that's all I've got to say on that matter. I'm sure John will probably jump in here at some point once he gets his connection back and talk about something else. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what were the subjects he had talked about. There was something else going on in Rutherford County, and I can't think of it right now. Well, I suppose if anyone has a question, they can certainly type it in the box there and let us know what you want to talk about. I'm checking right now. Let me look over here and see what kind of questions we've got. Let's see. No particular questions. I've seen some comments. Strangely enough, in checking, because when stuff like this comes out, typically you see a bunch of stuff in social media. And I've seen some stuff in Facebook about the subject, but haven't really seen anything on the official channels as far as a response or as far as any kind of criticisms on the official social media channels. So I guess for right now, most of this stuff is kind of sliding under the radar, with the exception of the news reports. And I'm sure the news channels, especially the ones that don't have anything better to do, will latch onto something like this and see how far they can ride it out, especially when there's nothing else going on. And I get that, but I think the easiest and fastest resolution to this whole thing is just to get everything out on the table and say, here's what happened, here's the dollars involved, here's the statutes or whatever that says it's no big deal, or it's okay. And once all that's out there, if if there's some fallout that comes from that, then fine, you deal with that fallout, you make sure it doesn't happen again, and you move forward. Um, I don't know what else to say about that kind of thing. Let me check. I got a couple of messages from John here. Let's see. John says the screen is opaque and stuck. I plugged in the wire. Bear with me, folks. I'm going to send him an invite. Hopefully, he'll pick it up with his phone, and I think that might help out a little bit. Because if he can answer it with his phone, he won't be tied to the whole Comcast thing. Yeah, he's definitely having some technical issues. And of course, as we know, this is nothing new for John. He is very much like my sister in the way that whenever they get within about 30 feet of some sort of electronic device, their electromagnetic aura sets off these alarm bells in the circuitry and stuff, and just makes everything go crazy. So we'll see. Speaking of my sister, she just popped up on the phone. But no John right now. Let's see. Looks like he's working on it. We'll see what happens. I think it's kind of funny, actually. But you know what? Maybe we've just beat this to death. Maybe we've done all we can do on this subject. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to Rutherford County. I would love to just like take 6 months or so and just hide out in the woods or something like that. Get some of that good warm weather. Do a little fishing, maybe a little hunting as the season goes on. Nothing from John yet. So anyway, I look forward to future shows, and I'm thinking maybe, at some point here in the next month or two, I might be able to scoot my way down there. We'll have a live show, maybe at Paul Bunk's or some other place, with all of us together and talk about some issues, or maybe interview some people live. I've got lots of folks I need to visit down south, and look forward to getting back there. So it doesn't look like John's going to be coming back. Oh, I can envision another trip to Comcast for him. But anyway, hopefully he'll get that resolved before next week's show. If not, maybe he'll run down to Paul Bunk's and we'll do a show from there. So thanks for joining us. It's been fun. Leave your comments and criticisms and all that stuff down here in the comment section, because we sure want to hear from you. And if we get enough of that, then maybe we'll talk about it again on a future show, and maybe we'll know more about what's going on down there then. Also, if you are so inclined, if you would like the video down here and subscribe to our channel, you'll get updates anytime we do a new show. It'll automatically ding you and let you know, hey, you can check us out live, or you can come by and watch it after it's live. So looks like we got John trying to get back in here. We'll give him a minute or so and see if he can get back in here. But his face just popped back up, so I don't know. I see him moving up. I was just about to say goodbye, man. Well, here you are, like a bad penny.
That's right. feel like Comcast is a bad penny.
Oh, we love Comcast. Comcast is our friend. I don't know about right there, but it may be just a Tennessee thing, because when I had Comcast down south in Murfreesboro, anytime it rained, it fried my modem, and I had to get. I just finally couldn't do it anymore, because they're like $80 a pop. So, but up here it's been pretty solid. There was one time that we had some issues, and they did the same thing. They took the line off the pole and ran a new line into the house, new router, and all that good stuff. So far, it's been working pretty good. So,
well, I'm glad it's working for you.
I'm going to give them 2 thumbs up for now.
Well, I wouldn't give them 1 thumb down. I told the guy who was out here yesterday or the day before, this is Friday, Wednesday, I said, we've had Comcast, I think, 12 years or more. maybe, or the internet part of it.
Hmm.
I said the first 6 years, maybe 7, 8, we're rock solid. I said these last 3 or 4 years, and I've got the receipts of all these goofy modems and routers that I've returned to them, and we bought our own a couple times. I said the service just stinks. He says, well, the equipment is getting better that you're using, and it wants a stronger signal. And if it doesn't get the perfect signal, it quits.
Hmm.
Or if we send too perfect of a signal, it's out of the tolerance for the machine doesn't know what to do. I thought, well, I know what to do with that machine. I'm on the second floor, and I've got a window. Told my wife I want to go to a garage sale this summer and buy a $5 computer.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go put a blue tarp out under the window, and I'm going to throw that bad boy and let it hit the sidewalk below. Just to make me feel good. Anyway, back to, like you say, Arnold is. I have plugged in a wire, so maybe we're wired in now. The signal won't matter for the Wi-Fi.
Right.
So, and we use blue wires. I don't know what color they are now. Although I think he left us another one from Comcast, and it's a yellow wire.
Right.
But anyway, Rob Mitchell,
That's what it was. Yeah, I was trying to remember what the other subject.
Oh,
was.
I'm gone again. Are you still here?
I'm still here. Are you
You
still here?
left.
You look like you're still here.
Well, hold on, don't. Web pages started opening up and saying that no page is found, and you went away. Anyway, Rob Mitchell is the what do you call it? Property assessor.
Yeah.
So, hope I'm not spilling the beans. But he's gonna. Well, you know what? I'm gonna wait until next Friday to talk about that.
You know, I was reading something in the Daily News Journal. It was on a Facebook post. It said something about him changing the friends he hangs around with.
Okay, so it is out in the public.
That's what I saw. Yeah.
Okay, Rob Mitchell there was 2 Democrats elected to office in Rutherford County, and he switched parties yesterday.
Yep. That's official. That's on the newspaper.
Okay. All right. Well, it's been in the works for about a month or 2 behind the scenes. And after talking to him, I think he made the right decision. I think the Democratic Party, this is my opinion, I think the heads of the different Democratic, there's the Democratic Party of D.C., the Democratic National Committee, the DNC. I don't know what each individual Democrat thinks, but I think the Democratic Party has left a lot of the normal people, in my opinion. Not being a Democrat, I can't speak for them, but out of most of the people here in Tennessee that I know and in the different states I've lived in, I don't see those families believing what I see from the television reports. And we mentioned Harry Reid earlier. Who's he always makes those gasps.
Yeah, who's that lovely young lady who is the head?
Oh,
of the
what in the
Democratic
world is
National
she
Committee?
smoking?
Isn't she just a charmer?
I think her sister works at the State Department as the spokesman.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
But I can't believe, and I'm a pretty naive person, that that is what most Democrats believe. I just don't see it. Apparently, there's 50% of the country that does, because we're split. But
yeah, it's about 40%.
Yeah,
about 40%. Yeah, I don't claim to know what they're thinking either. It's been unreal watching both parties go at each other and try to talk about their platforms. Um, Things have certainly changed in the short amount of time that I've cared.
Yeah. Well, growing up in high school in Springfield, Virginia, uh, if you watch the news, the national news was our local news, and our local news was the national news. So we heard it before there was really a CNN, or about that same time. We had 24-hour news because we were right there in Washington. Um, but, Reagan and Tip O'Neill, they would go at each other or their spokesman like cats and dogs. There was no love lost there, especially in public. But they could go to Camp David or wherever they secretly met with jelly beans and cigars, and they'd work out something that was, you could argue, was good for the country. Today, I don't see our politicians, very many on either aisle. Now, I go out to the local grocery after I drop the children off to school and have a cup of coffee, and they always say, you know how you can tell a politician's lying? And everybody goes, no, and they say their lips are moving. It's not fair to throw them all into the same bunch, but, they call all those monkeys, or whenever they've got monkeys as a group, they call that a Congress. So,
yeah. And it's interesting from this perspective because I'm up here in Wisconsin right now.
Flyover country.
Yeah. Any prayers are appreciated. Thank you very much. But this is Scott Walker country here. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, and Scott Walker. I mean, before I even moved up here, he was doing stuff about the welfare. And I think he was one of the first ones to start suggesting, hey, if you're going to collect a welfare check, then you should probably get drug tested, jump through a couple of hoops that everyday people have to jump through in order to work, to get paid, to pay for your...
Yeah, there's that thing, if I have to be drug tested to make money to give to welfare people, then they should have to be drug tested to get my money.
His stance is pretty much, in as much as it directly relates to public funds, he's kind of an anti-union guy.
Kind of.
I don't think he really has anything against unions. He just has something against their effect on his ability to negotiate with unions. And so they want it their way in many cases, and they're not interested in any kind of concessions or anything like that. So he's basically excised them from the process here with Title X and stuff like that, which a lot of people are sore over, but a lot of people were applauding too because he's been reelected again.
Well, it's 3 times.
He had that recall election, and so he's elected again. And I can tell you the liberals here who espouse their views on the Facebook channels, their heads about exploded. They couldn't believe Walker got elected again. And what are these people thinking? So in their minds, according to them, people who are more conservative thinking are just lost and subjects of the Koch brothers and big business and stuff like that. Like, we can't think for ourselves. We have to wait for the Koch brothers.
Yeah, but the Dems get mad when you bring in that nut job from in Michigan.
Yeah.
The movie guy.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, we're a totally divided country along every kind of possible thing. And in the Rotary meetings I go to every week, one of the things we do is we do the Pledge of Allegiance, and it talks in the Pledge of Allegiance about being united. And I think about that every time because they've tried to split us and ununite us in every conceivable way so that they can maintain power wherever that exists.
Yes.
And I just hope that both conservative and liberal thinking people, black and white and yellow and brown and green and orange, and I think we should all just
can't we all get along?
See who's trying to pull our strings, and then just say, we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. We're Americans, and we want stuff that's good for our country.
Well, one thing along those lines that I found refreshing, and it's a bad thing that happened, of course, the Charleston, South Carolina shooting. Now, they did arrest the cop, and there was video and blah, blah, blah. And again, let's wait for all the trial or the information to come out. But one of the spokespersons, I'm going to call her a spokesperson from the family, she said, if we want to send a message, we need to go out and vote. And I thought that was cool. Uh-oh, am I losing you again? Ken, are you there? Did I lose you, Ken, or am I gone? Well, I'm going to act like we're still going for a minute, even though Ken is frozen this time and I'm here. But she did say to go out and vote, and that would be better than a recall election, is sending new people in the next time. Trying to see if on my phone what is happening on the show. I don't know. Oh, Ken, are you there? I see a third picture is up. Well, I don't know what to... Uh-oh, the screen's black. Ken usually runs the show page, and it still says live on my side, but the screen is black, not that you can see this, and I have our logo in the middle. Is now Ken's moved over, and let's see here real quick what we can, if I can message him. Are we still on? All right, we'll see. It's almost time for the show to be over, but real quick is the neat part is that there are people that are using common sense still on both sides of the aisle, the positive side, and that their vote and they're asking their constituents or people that they feel they're like-minded to vote. And I got to say that that's the rational way to do it, is get the people that are like-minded to get out there and register to vote and then actually vote. Ken, what are we doing here? Let's see what we're... Let me send him one of those emojis. See if he responds. Well, what I think we'll do for today is, on that note, know that we're all individually responsible for ourselves. We need to get out and work hard, live peaceably, and take care of our country. From there, hopefully, if most people are doing the right thing, others will join us. And we too will continue to have the greatest and strongest country in the land. Reading, he's I think Ken's trying to pop back in. Ken joined the group. Let's see. Do you want me to go on or end the show? Question mark, return. All right. See if we can wait for an answer. It's a couple minutes. We can wait a second. But I do hope that we all, as a people, as Americans, will go on and vote, live peaceably, mow our yards, kiss our wives, hug the children, pet the dog, and stay positive. And on that note, I'm going to hang up and see about talking to Ken off air. So until next week, this is John Gessler for the Main Street Show on Murfreesboro Live.